just of the industry. We're running the internet again, so crypto's definitely fun. It's great to be here. It's good to finally be back. Like actually, we're back. You know what I mean?
It definitely feels like we're back. People. It's funny. You can never really. Nobody knows. This is the thing. Nobody really knows anything. And I realized this when I used to be in the traditional stock market, Wall Street guy. Everybody's just guessing, right? It's just guesses all around. And if we're up, we're down, high, low. Nobody really knows. We're all just making these educated guesses. But certainly meme coin season's here. I got my meme coin history t-shirt on. I think, this past week has just been meme season full in play, and just seeing, actually, I think the Nick token went up like, 200x, which of course I faded again. Did you get any of that sweet Nick token bag on Solana?
I did not get any Nick token. I did see it come about. I saw it pretty early, but I did not buy any.
I know. What is that in our brain where I saw it probably within 10 minutes of it launching, and I was just like, nah, I'll just fade that, man. Let me just fade that.
There was like 100 derivatives. There was like Nosebud. There was just like so many crazy ones going nuts.
Nosebud. That's a good one, man. Nosebud.
Nosebud. Is Bell on your shirt? I didn't see.
Yeah, so I got
meme coin. Is that number one?
I got my meme coin history t-shirt. Somebody in the
right.
Bell's Discord put that up there and was like, well, why don't we do a history of it all the way through Dog with Hat.
Let's go.
So blowing that one up. It's just fun, man. And it's so ridiculous. But I mean, it's getting to this point now. And I've seen a bunch of people posting on the timeline. It's like, maybe this cycle is strictly the memes coin cycle, where in the crypto space, we're not even talking about, how Bitcoin solves problems. We've just gone full meme coin, where it doesn't mean anything. It's just, what are we going to place value, and what's the market gonna vibe with? And who knows? Maybe we're there, and maybe that's just going to lead this cycle. It certainly seems, other than ordinals, and even on ordinals, you think about what was really important on ordinals. It was SRC-20 and meme coins, right? And it's just, maybe that's going to be the cycle, man. It feels like it at this point. I don't know if anybody else has a different vibe on it, but let's get into the stamps. I want to hear some voices out there, guys. Raise your hand if you want to come up. I invited some people. Everybody's chicken this morning, but I really want to know what's happening. What are some updates with stamps? Mike actually had something come up. He can't make it this morning to give kind of the overview, but if somebody who's on stage wants to give kind of an update, I'd love to hear it. I'd prefer not to have to give the update myself, because I don't know as much as probably some people in the space on what's going on. So maybe Sasha, you want to catch us up on what's happening in the Bitcoin stamp ecosystem?
Hey, GM.
What's going on?
Maybe Bitcoin stamps want to make some update.
Well, you can't give us an update. All right, let's go to Bitcoin stamps.
I'm shy. I don't know.
Well, what are you doing on stage if you're shy? Come on, man. You got to give us the heat.
Oh.
I'm joking. Go ahead, Stamps.
GM, everybody. GM on a happy anniversary.
That's right.
Business. Yo, Sasha is the news on stamps. That's why. She's just being mad, and she's just come out like dropping collections like Godzilla style, SVG, amazing madness. There's so much going on stamps. It's nice to remember at this time. I felt like a sermon, but like this time of year, we come to remember that stamps are really what's important. And I thought to you, like, when Adam's like, oh, it's only memes now. I'm like, what do you mean memes have got no value? This is it's the stamp revolution that's caused this position. And actually, I thought ordinals were a meme anyway. But never mind, I digress. Lovely to be here. There's loads of stuff going on. Man, I have got a big list of things I've got to make sure I mention or don't mention in the right order. But we're here today to talk about like the celebration now, like not here to shill and obviously, I mean, I love a good shill. But yeah, just the Patreon, that by balls, makes sense. But yeah, it's like, all things apart, we're here to celebrate us being here for 1 year and what got us here, and that's amazing. I think we're all. If you were not in semi-shock, yeah, you weren't there, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's wild. And like I say, Bell's talking about Bells as well. Like all these things that have come off this mood. But Stamps is in a better position than ever. I really, actually, honestly say that I believe in Stamps as a protocol, as a product. You know, like I remember I was speaking about this last year, and me coming on stage, and everyone was saying that, like, you know, we were burning, we were wasting the bitcoins.
Totally, man.
Stuff, you know, and we were like, you know, I said then, I still say it, like, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, what is a transaction worth? You know, and I would say a lot of memes. And I think that people at this point have stamped their feet. And people told me immutable data didn't matter. And it did. And the Romans go home stamp mechanism has worked. And it's all the people here, literally, who bought into that. So, yeah, like there is, of course, a blazing ecosystem on the go at the moment. I'm not going to even go through them systematically. Like, of course, I should mention SRC-Pad, because I know that's been a really successful thing for us recently. And we're happy to see those things. But yeah, we're here. Like you said, Adam, I'm here to talk about all the people who put us there, all the people who are the ambassadors and such.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned, like, I mean, and this hit me too. Like, I was there day one, and I did inscribe a lot. Took the risk. I probably spent, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 on that kind of first day. And my wife told me I was crazy, and I was like, this is stupid. I totally agree. But even with that, you know, the SRC-20s, I inscribed a handful. I actually created, I think, one of the first 10 or so that I should probably do something with and give away later. But there was this thing. It was like, well, these were costing me at least $150 each. I can't even remember. It was crazy, right? And so the idea of, especially when the SRC-20s started, the idea of spending, I don't know what it was, $40, $50 to, you know, inscribe or stamp these was just, I was like, this is crazy. I could understand it from what happened with BRC-20, because BRC-20 you could do for a couple of dollars, right? So it's like, okay, it's a couple dollars. If these go up to $5 or $10, well, they'll be worth something, right? But I was like, at $50 for an SRC-20, like, how is this ever going to work? And obviously my brain was not, I way overthought it, right? It's like, I did something that you never do in the meme coin space, which is you thought about it, and thinking about it, it was a terrible idea. Obviously fumbled like generational wealth on the stamps and on the Kevins. But what was going through your mind when that was happening? Were you spending the thousands of dollars to inscribe those, or you were just like, you faded it as well?
Oh, I didn't even have the thousands of dollars. I was spending it all in deploying them all for you lot to fucking fill your bags with, you bastard. That was legit. Like, it was mad, and we had to do it. Like, there was no. But I think that should be a law meme, you know, and it's not like a civil law protection thing. Is we all faded SRC. I mean, I don't like, that's another, let's do a party for the SRC anniversary, and let's talk about that, you know. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it.
No, we got to talk about SRC, because SRC are critical to stamps. I think it's, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy. I'm talking about, okay, well, I mean, I'm excited for what happens. We did fade it. We all faded it. We did it because, I mean, a lot of us counterparty people here, right? We did it because actually, despite public opinion at that time, potentially, like, we all love counterparty, and we're from counterparty. And so when they introduced whatever it was called, BRC-20, you know, it's like basically going from DVD to like VHS, basically, without the retro vibes. And so we're like, oh, you could just use counterparty. So we did it as like a little bit of a dirty protest. And I think that is in a way like, it's partly because that shows the magic of doing stuff and memes and Pepe, because not everybody has the vision to see, you know, you just got to do stuff and then see what, I mean, try not to do bad stuff, but like investigate. And so we didn't have the audacity to imagine, to buy the sort of vision that you could actually create just a protocol, you know, like actually it would work. Like people would take us seriously, whatever you want to say. And I think we overlooked the importance of immutable protocols on Bitcoin and what everyone else could bring to the table and what we could. It was definitely a learning curve for all of us. And I think we all have to thank Mike in Space really for his years of like militant mimetic, like mastery that really pushed that forward. And certainly speak for myself, educated me to be like, you see, I thought I was playing this game, but it's not even a game. It's like we're building and we're learning as we go.
Yeah, I think even Mike would say he was obviously pleasantly surprised. I don't think anybody on earth can really see these things happening because they do have to be kind of a community-led movement, and there's no guarantee that ever works, right? I think the Stamps narrative was strong enough that it allowed it to work, and obviously having Mike as a great kind of troll on Twitter, I think did a lot to help it along. I mean, you can't discount, I don't know when it was, maybe a month ago or so, there were articles in CoinDesk and, all these Bitcoin Magazine, all these ones that were mentioning Stamps in the same breath as Ordinals. And obviously Ordinals is the 1,000-pound gorilla, but that Stamp was mentioned or is mentioned along those same lines. I think, you got to give it to Mike for, his ability on X to just make an impact. So we all definitely owe Mike a bit of gratitude there. No doubt about that. Do you have something I saw your hand up, Sasha. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, you mentioned prices to making stamps. So I want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
I joined stamp community with my SVG stamps, and it was, I think it's expensive for many artists to make a stamp, but now we have Olga, and now it's much more easy to make stamp, and don't scare, like if you hear you need a lot of $100 to make a stamp and it's expensive, and if you artist and you scared to make your first art on stamp, don't be scared. Now you have opportunity to make it easy, smoothly, and more cheaper, and you can make with art, with SVG. It's so interesting. I work in pixel art and in vector art, and I choose the vector because I want to make something new for myself and make experiments with memes. And
so give us an idea about pricing on what it would cost, like previously prior to Olga. And so anybody in the audience who doesn't know, this is a new protocol, a new way of inscribing, which makes it a lot less expensive. So give us an idea of what you would have paid previously as compared to what you pay now using the Olga protocol.
Yeah, for sure, you need to catch low mempool. But before, for example, I made art piece about 6 or 7 kilobytes, and to make a stamp, it can cost about 700 probably. And right now I can make same weight of about 6 or 7 kilobytes for 120 or 150.
Wow.
So
that's wild.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now everyone's going to find out how lazy I am because
I'm so
wait, are you still doing it the old way? You're like, I like the traditional way.
No, I have had a bit of a busy week actually. But you know what? I just want to touch back on one thing because it's like it's our little pet peeve in the team. Don't do it much to us, but you don't inscribe stamps or SRC tokens. You stamp them. You stamp them by their very definition. It's a technicality. No, you're educational service providers, and I wouldn't want you to make mistakes because it's like the process of storing it technically in the UTXO means it's been stamped. The process of imaginarily ticking it to a Satoshi is to inscribe it.
Yep.
It's just a technical, no, just for everybody. And the other thing that just which everybody, it stays in the documents. If you don't mind me just waxing on a second.
No, I'd actually like to get into a bit of the details on how Olga actually works. If you can kind of educate us a little bit on that.
Yeah. Well, I could.
Don't
but
go
there
too,
is
I mean, maybe
documents.
not too deep, you know.
Don't
We
wanna
don't need
spoil my
JP
role. I'm
Jansen
still
up
on my
here
first
explaining like
copy.
this, the heavy details, but like, yeah.
Do you know the bit I like? Where is it's now basically more than half the price of what it was. And those who remember, well, basically TLDR is now we are competitively priced with ordinals. I don't know if we're exactly cheaper than ordinals or whatever, but we're basically minimizing the use cases to even suggest that there's a use case for ordinals. And that's not because we hate them. We're all just trying to build towards the same meme. We love them. Of course we do. We've got loads, but we're all trying to build towards the cheapest, fastest, bestest, most secure, most immutable data in the world. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yep. And that's it. So Olga makes it half as cheap, and there'll be other things come in potentially like the recursiveness and stuff that is going to allow for any sort of file size. So we're basically harder, cheaper, better, faster, stronger now. And that's thanks to Olga and JP, old school counterparty, coming like the cavalry, you know, in Lord of the Rings, like over the hill. Here comes Olga. Brilliant. Love it.
Well, JP, I've invited you on stage. Love to have you up if it's possible for you to speak on it and give us a little bit of the technical, details about how it works, if possible. Because it's actually hard to believe. When I first heard about this and hearing now about the cost differentiator, it's incredible, right? I mean, that's whatever. That's a fifth of the cost as to previously. And obviously now you can do much larger file sizes, correct? So this is like, it's incredible. And so that ability, which puts it anywhere close to what you could do on ordinals, is incredible. It's almost, now it's bumping to that point of, well, why would you choose ordinals? Which is an interesting question.
100%.
Yeah. And so
I just say as well.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I won't say, you can.
Go ahead.
I just was going to mention all the articles that have come out recently, like you said, that have written on their own now about stamps, from Ledger to Binance to OKX to Coinbase to everybody. And apart from the facts they've got wrong, it's pretty. I would love to have a spaces. Sometimes I'm not here to show the thing. I'm just building technology, but I'm as fascinated as you are of what the remaining use cases will be for inscription-based tokens.
Yeah, well, it's like, I mean, I know why as an artist you might choose ordinals right now, or as a creator, right? You want to go where the eyeballs are and where the collectors are, right? And so if the collectors currently are on ordinals, that's probably where you're going to want to release or launch your project, because in theory, that's where the most eyeballs are going to be. But as we know, eyeballs change what they're focused on all the time. And, not to say that ordinals is going to be overrun anytime soon by stamps. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, we've seen, and we are seeing currently, complete shift in attention from ETH NFTs to ordinals. I mean, just a massive shift. And we had talked about that a year ago. Could this happen? But it's actually, here it is. It's happened. So not to say it's necessarily going to go to stamps, but now the potential is there, right? It's the idea that you can inscribe or stamp your artwork or your collection for a similar price to ordinals, just puts it on that same playing field, which is just, I mean, my mind's blown. I can't imagine. I couldn't, definitely 3 months ago, this would have been impossible to foresee. And, but here we are. Sneeps or Sneps, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yo, this is my first time talking on a Bitcoin space.
Nice.
I faded ordinals, and
of course, welcome to the club.
yeah. I'm learning. I spent a lot of time at Ord Denver. That was really fun. I learned a lot, and I didn't fade ETHscriptions and got into that and launched a project there, and it did well. And now I'm like all in on chain, and I'm still confused about like the on-chaininess of ordinals and stamps.
Sure. Yep.
Can I get some clarity on that?
Sure. I mean, I could take that to a degree, unless, Stamps, if you want to take it, you might be better than I am at this.
Go for it, mate. Go for it. I want to hear it as well.
Sure.
I'm so interested.
Here, for what I can give is the non-technical way of thinking about it. And so ordinals, if you think of ordinals, the actual like image that you're inscribing is stored in the witness data. Okay. And it's stored and connected to, and that connection is basically a group consensus. That's ordinals theory. That connection between the inscription that lives in the witness data and the SAT that it's inscribed on. Okay. That's ordinals theory. That basically connects those together. Okay. So there's nothing necessarily on chain that connects those two. Does that make sense? So like the image is stored in the witness data, that's on chain. And obviously the Satoshi or the SAT is on chain. But the thing that connects those two together is, as Casey would say, a shared delusion. We're all agreeing that those are connected together. All right. Does that make sense? So that's ordinals.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay. So as we trade that Satoshi around, like if I give that Satoshi to you, you now own that, right? You own the Satoshi, obviously, because the Satoshi's in your wallet. But that connection between the Satoshi, the SAT, and the actual inscription, that's a shared consensus, a social consensus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to like the inscriptions protocol and how we define ownership by just transferring around
exactly
the inscription or the transaction ID, basically.
Exactly. So with inscriptions, yes, you put the image into the call data, but then everything after that, which is like I send it to you, or I send a 0 transaction to you, and now you own it. That in itself is social consensus as well, right? We're all kind of agreeing to this system. That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, so is time.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Well, I lean towards time doesn't exist, but that's another show. So now with stamps, the actual image isn't in the witness data. The image is actually stored in the UTXO set itself. Okay. So far more immutable because every Bitcoin node contains the full UTXO set, unless you have some random, you're Luke Dash Jr. and you don't do that. You can prune it. But basically all nodes have that full UTXO set. So in theory, and it's pretty well established, but in theory, that becomes far, far more immutable than data that's stored in the witness data, because the witness data is actually quite easily pruned. Like if you run a node, you could actually prune that witness data. You don't have to have it all, right? So stamps are, by everybody's account, far more immutable. The thing was, stamps originally, at least up until the new OGA protocol, were many, many times more expensive than ordinals to make, because ordinals, anything put in the witness section of the blockchain actually received a discount. And so they were actually inexpensive to inscribe or whatever, But stamps, because you're stamping into the UTXO set, were expensive. And so that was always, certainly at the beginning, up until, this past week, was always a barrier that made stamps just a protocol that was going to bump up against this idea of like, this is basically a rich person's protocol. Because to do a nice piece of art, like Sasha was saying earlier, it was $700 to inscribe one inscription, right? Or one stamp.
So what makes it less expensive now? So
the Olga protocol, and maybe stamps could get in, Bitcoin stamps could get into like the differentiator, but it's basically a technical protocol that allows for the inscriptions to take place at a fifth of the cost of what it was previously. So,
and it's still all the data is still on Bitcoin.
Yes. And so I would actually like to get into the details of how that occurs, how that's possible. Basically, if you look in the audience, JP Jansen's down there. He's got like the black and white PFP. And if you follow JP, I'm sure JP's probably done a thread on how it's actually done. I'll look and I'll pin it up top in a sec. But he's a super OG dev and did a lot of stuff on Counterparty in the early days of Counterparty, which were kind of leaning into this very innovative ideas and techniques. And so JP figured out this way to actually do it at a much lower cost. So that's the high level monkey way of explaining it.
That's awesome. Cool. And I just have to say that I bet Sasha is pretty stoked on that you named it Olga.
Well, to give the reason behind Olga is JP's girlfriend, maybe wife, was named Olga, and so JP, one of his first, it's often in the conversation for first true NFT ever, was named Olga. So JP's famous for that, and this was a way of honoring him and his early work, if that makes sense.
Very cool. Very cool.
Maybe someday someone makes something and it has name Sasha.
When Sasha token.
When Sasha token.
Judo. I like judo.
Can I just say one thing in defense of all this is, and I don't want to get too on my high horse, but it reminds me of when this guy interviewed Einstein on a television, and he was like, "Oh, can you just break it down, theory of relativity for me in just like 30 seconds?" And Einstein just went, "No,
exactly."
And I went, in the name of name of entertainment. I know Kevin's here now, so big of us. But in the name of entertainment and spaces, it's like it's complicated, and it's not trying to avoid the conversation, but it's about the distribution of the transaction and where the path and all that. Yeah, but it's like we're having fun. It's stamp anniversary. Let's not do let's do another spaces for the details. Let's just keep having fun.
No, I appreciate the quick breakdown, and I'm definitely going to do more research. What I learned between ordinals and stamps at Denver was, I was like, well, stamps feel more real, kind of, it sounds like.
Well, depends how you define real, I guess.
Who told you about stamps? Because we were trying to find people knowing about stamps. What I can tell you is, it's free real estate, guys. You may as well get out there and show stamps, because people are like, "The what? Say what now?" They love it. I'm like, go Denver.
Yeah, here I'm going to share. I'm going to share a tweet from JP up top, and so you guys can follow JP. And I'm sure somewhere in there, I didn't find it, but I'm sure he's given a breakdown of what it actually means to inscribe using the Olga protocol. If you want to get into the technical details, for me, I like to keep it very like monkey brain. I trust that what they've built does put it all, in the UTXO set, still keeps it that way. How it's actually done, if you want to dive in. But I assume it's done correctly. I hope, man. I hope. Let's talk a little bit about the SRC-20 launch pad and what just happened. I think that went down yesterday, did it not?
Yeah, it's been super successful. I think it just like went out, and it went out straight away. I actually didn't follow. I'm my own. Just been super distracted yesterday, but obviously I saw the whole thing come through. I'm probably not the best person to speak about it, other than to say that I following along with that, and it's amazing. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not allowed to say, but I'm super happy with that. Wow, the guys at Universal have been brilliant, and everybody who's been involved is been like a culmination of the process, and super happy to see it take a center stage, rightly so. So I'm super, and also let's build like crazy things. There's loads of new stuff happening, super exciting, and that's very much a testament and part of it. And of course, not the only SRC Pad's not the only one, but maybe we can hear a bit more about that from Angel now. I don't know.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Good, man. What's up, dude?
Good. Yes, we have like a little bit rest, at least 8 hours in a day from like a long time. But yeah, super happy for the launch yesterday. It's been a lot of work for many people. So we are so happy. Also like to have this project to try to kind of put together all the things that we have as like the know-how of the ecosystem and the networks that we have between us and all the advisors of the project. So we are really happy to have that kind of tool to push the space forward.
So tell me, so yesterday was basically the launch of the entire like system is launched, or yesterday was the launch of like the native token?
So we wanted to launch our token with our own launchpad in a way. So kind of our idea at the beginning was like to have an MVP of what we aim to have. Like obviously when like big launchpad out there launched back in, I don't know, 2014, 16, depending on which one, all of them did like their token launch, and afterwards they build their platform. So we try to do an MVP of the platform that we aim, just to show that we are able to do it. But obviously that's not going to be the end product. That's just the product that we wanted to have like for our own launch. So we are now working in phase 2. Phase 1 was basically launching our token. Phase 2 is get more implementation and also start showing all the projects that we've been working behind the scenes for new launches now. And
so that the native token, is it something that you're going to need the native token to do launches using your launchpad, or what's the kind of utility? Is that it?
Yeah. Basically, we have studied the top 15 launchpad out there in the market. There are many different systems. Most of them work with different tiers. But we like, also, we like the first post we did, and we read everything and all the suggestions from the community. The first post we wrote, we published. Some people were commenting like some crazy ideas and really cool ones to not just reward holders, that it will count a lot, the token you hold, obviously, but also reward holders that are also really active within the community. So that's all I can say for now. We are working in the mechanics to make that work. But basically, we want to reward like people that host the token and also people that are active in the community with like a different tier system with points that we will communicate down the line. Now, but these are kind of the basic ideas of what we have in mind.
Now, because I haven't really been paying too much attention to it, but I know that SRC-20 moved off of Counterparty, right? So, you know, I was used to SRC-20 doing it in like Counter Wallet and Free Wallet and all that kind of craziness.
Yeah.
What's the native wallet now that people are using? Was it OKX I see people using now for the SRC-20?
Basically for our, people are using Ledger, Unisat, and OKX wallet, basically. That's our kind of the three main ones. And some people also Stan wallet when they are trading Stan Scan. So that's kind of the main ones right now. And we know more guys are trying to integrate SRC-20 within their wallets. We are in contact with a couple more, but that's kind of the state of the art right now.
And so when I want to sell or transfer an SRC-20, is it kind of this? Is it similar, like in a clunky mechanic to BRC-20, where I need to do like a transaction first before I can send, like that kind of clunkiness, or has that all been kind of solved now for SRC-20s?
So depending where you do it. Like if you do it in OpenStam or StanScan, you just list it there, and then once you have to do one transfer to list it, and then once that transfer is in OpenStam, it's go directly with the you create kind of the small UTSO, so the end of the transfer, and then the buyer ends up the transfer. Yes.
All right. So so it's similar to BRC-20 then.
Yeah, it's PSBT basically.
PSBT based. Gotcha.
Yeah. And in the FXs is different because you have like a pair, for example, with SuperX, a pair with USDT, and then you just buy as you do usually in a FX.
And what's the kind of fee for doing those sort of transfers? Is it comparable to what I'm going to pay, using BRC-20s, or is it more expensive? Oh, I lost you. You there? Can anybody else hear him?
He's working it out. He's got a little calculator.
If you can hear us, you might want to leave and come back in, man. You got rugged. You're rugged.
so cheap. Casey like hacked in. He was like, can't tell us. It's like 1 pence or something.
Well,
I think we pay you something along those lines, unofficial.
Well, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we're doing a runestone show with Leonidas tomorrow. If you guys want to set your reminder for that. And we're going to get into it. And this is one of the things, I mean, you think about what Casey's doing with runes, it's very much this idea of like BRC20s is difficult and clunky and expensive, right? How can I improve on this? Because meme coin trading, if you're in the meme coin business, right, to be able to trade inexpensively and seamlessly and fast, you know, has a lot of value. And that's why we're seeing it kind of blow up on Solana over the last, you know, month or so. Go ahead, Laser. You got your hand up.
Happy Stampiversary, everybody.
What's up?
Just to say hello, really, and to introduce ourselves. So I've been in the space for about 9 months or so in stamps. Used to originally be part of the George team. So myself and another gentleman called Pillow put together a 111 collection stamp NFT collection. I don't know if you call them NFTs after being told that they're not ordinals. But we stamped 111 of them anyway. We did them manually, so we sort of held everybody's hand through that process about July last year. Mike in Space minted with us, Blockjack minted with us, who I think can't speak at the moment. Sheep Fu minted with us as well. And then we, after we minted it out, we wanted it to be a community collection. So we passed it off over to a group called Echo, because they already had a huge community inside of Ordinals. They were building inside of the space of stamps as well. And they've been doing a great job with George. They're about to do a new collection of 2,222. I'm nothing to do with it at all, the secondary collection, but it looks like they're doing a great job with it, getting lots of interest in it. Look, the characters are looking very cute, etc. I'm just here to tell you a bit about Laser, which is the coin that we've got minting out at the moment. So it's one of your SRC coins. I secured the name in middle of December last year, after realizing that stamp 1 and 2 on the chain are pixel laser eyes. And nobody knew what they were. Mike made a huge post, well, not a huge post, but he made like quite a detailed post layering out all the aspects about what they were, because people keep asking why.
Yeah, I thought personally, I thought it was like a American Red Cross, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was something like weird playing card or like a mystical tarot thing. I was like, what's going on? But they're pixel laser eyes, and as soon as he put them on his face, I was like, this is the meme. So, and I think this is the meme of stamps, is the fact that there are 2 pixel laser eyes at the beginning of the chain, and nobody knows what they are. Pixel laser eyes go on everything. So we're here to tell you that there's a coin to buy. It's about 50% minted at the moment. If you go onto OpenStamp, you'll find us right there. It's I prefer that you go and find it yourself rather than I post anything for you. Unless Adam wants to link something above if I give him the details. But yeah, feel free to mint it. It's been going hard the last 24 hours. We're 25% further minted along. It's 52%, I think, as of right now, minted out. And the idea is that we're going to be the meme coin for stamps, because at the end of the day, who doesn't love laser eyes?
Well, Stamp might have a problem with that. And I know for sure Kevin has a big ass problem with that.
Well, Kevin can go and have a strop somewhere else, and you know, Stamp's allowed to be like Audi. It's allowed to be the original coin, but something's got to be fun.
I love the
lasers are coming out.
I did see on my timeline quite a bit of like Stamp versus Kevin battles taking place, which was pretty funny. Tell me how you did it, because I for example, I did inscribe or stamp. I stamped a few SRC-20s at the beginning. Just to take part, right? But not ones that I can't remember even. I think I might have done one which had a supply, but I claimed it all for myself, right? Thinking, well, maybe I'll do something with this later. So what's the technique for that? So if I claimed, and it's whatever, it's a million supply, but it could be, you could claim them all, and I claimed them all myself, that whole million. How do you then go about like distributing them? How does that work?
So there's a number of different ways of doing it. We want this to be a community coin, so we've left it so that you actually mint it directly from the chain. So the supply in total is 101,010,101. So 10, 10, 10, 10, 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then the limit per mint is 10, 10, 10. So 1,101,000 1010. It's meant to be a mystical number of luck people, so fire the lasers for luck. But you can mint up to 100,000 basically in a single mint.
Gotcha. So yours is an open mint, free to claim, basically. Mint.
That's the idea.
Gotcha.
We would like to do a few airdrops with a few different people. I've been trying to ask if I can give some people in George some laser. Obviously, the hold account will be relatively low to begin with, but we wanted it to be sort of similar to the size of George. We liked working with that sort of amount of people. So please come up, mint it, get involved, and then we'll get shilling it as a community together and having some fun.
Gotcha.
Because got to fire the laser.
Well, if anybody on stage can answer my question, how would I distribute one where I minted the whole supply? How do I distribute that afterwards? Does anybody on stage know that?
Well, I know as well.
You do?
You're gonna have to send it. You have to send it manually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, this is part of, you were talking earlier about the sort of costs and the restrictions of stamps in regards to the expense. That hurdle, that barrier to entry is actually what adds the intrinsic value into stamps. You have to pay money to make it. So when I first minted my first George, I wanted to be the first one to mint it. I spent $250 minting it, even though the next day it was 60. I was just like adamant I was going to mint it and be number one.
Yep.
And I think it's the same with all of it. At the end of the day, if you want something to have value, it has to be valued, and so you have to pay to do things with it. It's not quite the same as ETH, where you're getting absolutely priced out because of the gas fees or anything like that. But the time, effort, energy, and money that you spend on this is what gives it its value.
I wonder if we're gonna.
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, I just wanted to, I guess the question that you asked about how does someone go about getting into stamps, or I should say SRC-20s. I think like a big thing going off of what Laser said is when you see, you can go to like OpenStamp or StampScan or a couple of these, dApps or whatever you want to call them, and you basically can interact. I think someone else said you can connect with a Leather wallet, OKX wallet, Unisat wallet, basically make the wallet, put some Bitcoin in, connect to, the application, and then basically see what mints are trending. Go to the mint pages that they've created. Typically what you do is you enter, like it'll say a minimum amount or max amount that you can mint per batch. And so like, let's say it's 100,000 like units you can mint for a coin or something. Let's say you want to mint it like 10 times. Some of these like OpenStamp allows you to mint it multiple times. So you go in, you mint however many you want. You put in the address, I'm pretty sure, of the, the receiving, where you're going to receive the stamps, actually the wallet's connected, so you don't have to do that. And then you basically set the fee. You basically determine if you want to front run other people. And I think a good tool to look at for a lot of people in here who are not used to stamps is cool. Put that in a new tab. Look at the current SAT rates going on. And usually I like to put the SAT rate a little higher than what's going on, at that current time, because if you get front run, you've got to wait a longer time for those blocks to clear. And then just basically you mint it, you wait. One thing I would say to anyone here who's minting, if you see a coin that's at like 80 to 90% minted out and it's just going really fast, I would be very cautious about minting unless you want to front run everyone in terms of blocks. If you try and do like the regular, fee rate, there's a good chance you may never get your stamp, your SRC-20 token, because usually it means other people are minting before that project mints out. So I recommend always trying to top off the gas fees, or I should say the SAT fees above what everyone else is, so it can help you to get an advantage of getting your SRC-20. So yeah, that's, I guess, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I wanted to say.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Chris.
Yep. Just you touched on a good point. The Kevins are always in our mentions. The stamps are always in our mentions, kind of going crazy, bickering back and forth. Who wants to take the TLDR of, what's the mild drama within that community? Maybe stamps, maybe I see a DGen Soul in there all the time. What do you guys think? Who wants to take it?
Can I say one quick thing? The laser guy that came up and is speaking right now, the one thing is like, I think Kevin's a great meme. I think Stamp is awesome too. I think all these SRC-20s have their own value in that you've got different communities trying to push different things. And at times, there's competition because I think people just
generally want the value of their coin to go up, but it's because they're putting effort in at the same time. So I understand it. I think that what's important to realize is nothing is better than the next coin that comes out. I think the overall goal should be to grow stamps, whether it be a utility token that brings new innovations or a meme token that's just funny. It's anything to grow the pie, to build the viewpoint of what stamps can be is important. And so, I don't really look at the bickering. I kind of, put that to the side. I do think like laser, just looking at that, I think that could be a potentially funny meme. You could put those laser eyes on basically anything. You could put them on Kevin, you could put them on, half the stamp projects, you could put them on, so like stuff, something like that's funny. I think the Olga SRC-20 is fantastic. I think what, obviously someone came up earlier, what Olga's done, that standard that's, been around for a while, what it's doing for stamps is massive. But yeah, I kind of just buy what I want, I don't look at the competitive aspect more so. I look at, hey, how can we grow this space? There's a lot of really good devs here. I know there aren't as many as Ordi, but I think there's some really smart people, obviously the Bitcoin account and stuff like that. So thank you.
Totally agree with you. I actually would say that a little bit of controversy, whether it's fabricated or not on the timeline, isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, as you saw with Nick this past week, I mean, for what is the most uncontroversial, like ridiculous video he made, people made the biggest controversy out of it. And, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing when, groups of SRC-20 holders are kind of having a fun, hash out on the timeline. I think it actually probably does good for both people, both Kevin and Stamp. If there's a battle, it's not the worst war to fight because you're actually bringing attention to it. Yeah, DJ, you had your hand up. What's up?
Hey guys, thanks for having me up. Yeah, I'm probably one of the most controversial guys because I think a lot of it really just comes down to the fact that when I started exploring stamps, I was there pretty early. I'm definitely not an OG by any comparison compared to guys like Arwen and all these other guys. But I think coming in as like an artist and someone that came from NFTs and somebody that kind of saw a lot of the shilling that was going on with BRC-20s and how it was just kind of, just a lot of crap, right? Like it didn't have the same vibe as something like stamps because this is like a huge community that goes way back on the art. It's a totally different vibe. And you can see that because the SRC-20s, they have like cover pictures, right? And all that different stuff. So when I went back to the original mint, there was like nothing. I think even Kevin was like 3% minted out. There was like Stamp and, like Bobo and all this stuff. So I went and I thought, well, there's a reason why Kevin's first. I don't know exactly what it is, but I see that there's like art tied to it. I see it's a meme and it was obviously first. So there's a reason why it was first. And then Stamp had a lot of marketing. Like I could see where people are like, hey, Stamp looks like Ordi, but there wasn't a huge story behind Stamp from what I know. And I go, people can correct me on this, but to me, it just seems like Kevin, because he's this ultimate meme and he's kind of Stamp culture and he's first, it just makes more sense that he should have been listed first. And I thought that it gave Stamp like a bigger advantage that OKX didn't list both of them at the same time. And so for me, and from what I've gathered just based on my tweets and my likes, that there's a lot of people in the community, like from the OG community, that are huge behind Kevin. So I guess one of the things I really wanted to know, if somebody wants to talk about it, is the entire history of Kevin, because I've heard different things about how there was 100 overruns and how it's like this big joke and it's been around forever. And that being said, if he's the OG in the Stamp community, like the core guys feel like this is really it, it's kind of tough to say, well, why isn't this up there if Stamp was more of sort of a branding thing and nobody really knows much about it? So I would love to hear the story on Kevin.
Yeah, I could speak on that a little bit, as well as Otterwin. The battle between the two has been pretty hilarious, probably brought more eyeballs. Some of the flooding that was happening around the OKX time certainly created some excellent buying opportunities for both tokens, which was great because a lot of us OGs didn't even hardly mint any of either of them. But yeah, the history of Kevin was really, it came down to the meme that Arwen created of Kevin, which was one of the very early stamps. And the weird thing about that, what happened was we put it through the Stamp Chain minting app, and we'd wake up in the morning and there were 50 new Kevin stamps. And we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, how that thing was stuck in the system, stuck in the cache, or why the hell it just kept reposting. Even like on a new server, everything was clear. That image just kept like getting reminted. So it was like, what the hell is going on? Like, there's a ghost in the machine. Like, Kevin's at it again. And that just kind of really started the whole meme and why it became the first token on SRC-20. That was the real reason for it. And now we have even a crochet Kevin. It's really gotten out of hand. There's a lot of future plans with the whole Kevin meme that we have planned.
You'll go ahead, Laser.
Yeah, I just want to add in that although the memetics are very strong with Kevin, the reality is it's the push to be first on the chain that makes it so unbelievably funny. The fact that he jumped Stamp, I'll never forget when it happened. It's just like, oh my gosh. You know, the plan was that there was meant to be Stamp was meant to be this SRC sort of historical precedent, and then Kevin was like, no, I'm going to be first. I'm going to be first, and then threw itself in. With stuff like Laser, you know, we're never going to be a historical coin on that level. Well, maybe we are because we're Stamps 1 and 2, but you know, we've got to build these memetics within the chain. The funnier the thing can be, the more pliable it can be, the more we can give it to anybody to put on anything to do with stamps, the bigger and better we're going to be. You know, we're going to have to get out there and market ourselves now. The bull market is here. We've been sat here patiently for, you know, we've been building for 9 months, a year now, officially as of today. But it's our time to shine this bull market. So let's go out there and make people laugh and show people what this technology is about, and how it's better to be permanent as well than prunable.
Better to be permanent than first, maybe. It's funny because when Kevin became the first one, you know, I was sitting there. I tried to, everybody wanted to have the first one in there. But I think, and it is kind of hilarious that it jumped over Stamp, because obviously there was some people wanted to be Stamp to be first. But the one thing I think is really cool is that it didn't matter. The reality was literally anybody on earth could have minted those for months. I don't know how long it took, you know, Kevin and Stamp to mint out, but it sure felt like a long time, right? Like I didn't even know if they were ever going to mint out, because we started doing the math, and somebody correct me, but it was going to be like, they may have been $1 million or $600,000 worth of, you know, fees to actually, you know, stamp all of these. I don't know if somebody's done that calculus, but it's not cheap, right? It's not like Ordi that, you know, you were doing them for $1 or 75 cents. You know, these were expensive. So yeah, I don't know if anybody's done that math on what it cost to stamp these out, but it was substantial, and everybody had a chance. And I can't say how. I think I might have 2 or 3 in my wallet. I haven't even looked. How much are those worth now, by the way? What's if I inscribed a stamp, what is that worth now? That $40 I would have spent. What's it at now?
Stamp to stamp. You mean stamp to stamp, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to work out. I was too busy correcting your terminology.
Yeah, something about $5,000, I think.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what I've got left. I paper handed some of it, but
yeah.
I've got about 4K left, and I've got 30,000 stamps. So yeah, it's paid very well. That coin's just going to go to the moon as well. It's destined.
We love all the coins. We love all the things. We love all. I don't think there's anything we don't love. We're a bunch of enthusiastic, like sort of geeks, basically playing with the blockchain and stuff. We're not really a moody bunch. We do troll a lot, like definitely, and have fun with that, but no negativity. And it's just obvious. Like Kevin was first. It's not even a question. It's like, why would anybody say anything? Why would anybody use a? I'm not saying it. Why would anybody do anything? That's it.
Kevin tricked the chain, man. Doing. Kevin tricked the chain. Stamp is the true first. Kevin was a scam that tricked the chain into being first.
It was a psyop. Hillary Clinton was involved. That's what's on Biden's laptop.
That's right.
To like dethrone Kevin. You know it.
20 years are going to go by, and people are still going to be talking about how Kevin jumped Stamp.
Yep. It is
just like literally
I got to tell you that like a weird thing overcame me the other day. I've been sat here at Stampfest looking at all the things, and very unlike me, subconsciously, I just saw the laser token. I was like, gotta mint me some of that, bro. And I literally minted a fair big supply of the laser. I don't even know why. First I heard of all this, I'm sat here like, the force is strong in this one. Good meme, will buy.
You're probably one of the people that's minted more than me then. There's two people that have got more than I have.
You gotta
don't fade your own project, bro. Trust me, it's a good advice.
If you feel like it's stupid, that means max minting. What's laser? What's it gonna cost me right now to go stamp some lasers? What's it gonna cost right now? What do you think?
I'll run it now. Give me 30 seconds.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'd like to know. I honestly haven't played around with it in a while now. I haven't done anything in a while with. I just, too many wallets, too much stuff happening. It's really, really difficult to keep up with everything that's happening and trying to stay on top. I mean, Jake gives me shit all the time because I completely faded, Doggy and the entire doginal space, and just faded. Obviously within stamps, even though I minted a lot of early stamps, still faded. Some of the most, things that would have given me what it was. That's 1,000x or 100x. Still faded all that stuff. You can't be in this space. I mean, look at us. Half the guys in this space faded all this stuff, right? It was like $50 to stamp an SRC-20. This is nuts. This is never going to work. So you can't be in the space.
It's hard to believe, and it's easy to fade.
Yeah,
at the
so
end of
easy.
the day. It's very difficult to see what's in the future when it hasn't been built yet.
That's right. I would say
just so
go ahead.
It's $20 by the way.
$20
at the moment. So it's very cheap right now. It's prime time for mint.
See, my brain goes, that's a ripoff. $20. Right, my brain goes, that's never going to get to $20. That's insane. That's exactly.
It's a stamp. It's forever. $20 forever. That's cheap.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just remember seeing the community kind of really take off. It was so small. It was definitely an underdog compared to ordinals and everything else, and really kind of just grew into this massive kind of grassroots community that we have today. I know that you guys have Stampfest coming up. You guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Hey, we just did it. It was amazing. Well, this is it.
It was at Denver, huh? How was it? What were the details?
We've been Stampfesting it like for about a week, Kevin. About 10 days. Kevin and I have been out and about, having a few meetings, talking to people here and there, And we hit up East Denver, and then we've had a nice time. We came back to Tulum, and then we've been in San Cristobal de las Casas. We all met there for like a magical sort of intimate party celebration, if you want, of the all things Stampfest. We had a few meals, a few like round the table dinner talks, and we had a party as well. We really good. We just had a barbecue. It was wicked. A bit of mezcal. And so over the week, we've been what's been great, I'm onboarding a lot of new people to Stamps, basically, who wouldn't otherwise have been involved, rather than it being a quite enclosed party, which I love. And I've been to quite a lot of those as well, but city, so we're able to make quite a big splash, and a lot more people know about Stamps now. So I like to see how that's going to play out. We had Jamex down doing an exhibition of his new Pixel collection, which is another outstanding example of the progress we've made in Stamps. So if you check out this, if you check out our Twitter, you'll see that there's a couple of videos and stuff of the exhibition. Pretty low key, but it's been really good, and we're really happy with all of that. And like I say, it was hard to make Stamps in the beginning, and not many did, and I see a lot of people here who did. And so that's what I wanted this celebration especially to be about, is saying thanks to everyone who came and like actually got involved when it was crazy hard, it was crazy impossible. And like the first ones when they were dropping in, I remember sitting there and I'm like, no one's going to do it. We got the turn to Adam, you don't underestimate your stock of your flock, Adam. Adam's a very early flock holder. I've got green punk from him. Like, that's another thing I'd like to see more of, if we're doing like reminders of what it was. 101 Stamps for the win. For those who know, I'm just not going to go on about it. Second thing is like trading. When we come in, it's like, right, I've made stamp 50. Adam's point one was like, I've made stamp 24 or something. And I'm like, well, I've got stamp 13. We're all just impromptu pixel art. Like, I don't know if I could do that. And he's like, well, we're forging partnerships, like it's exchanging rings, you know, it's like really a beautiful, powerful stuff. And that's how, and then Squilla come in, he made a bunch and he's like, oh guys, you won't believe this. I've just sat in my hot tub with my blooming private keys and they're gone, you know what I mean? So that collection's locked off and everyone's just like, and even sending these things was super expensive. And it's like, well, I'll send it, but it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to even send it over. So like, I just want to bring it back to that, like make stamps great again. At the end of the day, have fun with SRC-20 tokens, but SRC-20 tokens is just one utility of a plethora of utilities and use cases that you're going to see blow up over the next couple of years. So like stamps will always be first, if that matters. Second mover advantage has been brilliant, and immutability clearly matters. I'm going to shut up and get off my, sit down for a second. Too much coffee.
Can I just stick on to the end of that? We don't know what all the use cases for stamps are yet. There's so many different utilities for this. The fact that you can do the multi-mints, the fact that it comes to the same address is totally different than anything else in the space. Stamps are the future, I think, somewhere along the way, and people are going to work it out slowly but surely. And just to add as well, when you do a mint for laser, because you are going to mint laser clearly, you the $20 mints you the 100,000 is like the max mint. You don't have to mint $20 per coin or anything mad. You block mint. So stamp anniversary, congratulations for making it to a year. This is the beginning of a very long journey, I think. So let's all ride it together.
Yeah,
laser.
Love that. Appreciate you guys coming on. Harking back to those early days, and it's the one thing in crypto I can say definitively. If it's hard to do because it's new protocol, it's new something, that's when you actually lean in. That's actually, it's the things I've had huge wins on, has always been the thing that was hard to do. Something that's easy is usually not going to be your big winner for you. I mean, sometimes they are, sometimes it's a meme coin, but usually the real returns are in things that were hard and the things where it was unclear if it was going to work or not. And you look back through crypto history, that's basically everything. And so if you see one pop up again, it's something like that. Lean in and lean in deep. That's usually your best alpha. Thanks everybody so much for coming on stage today. Bitcoin Stamps, it's incredible. What an incredible year that it got taken from this kind of fringe, stupid, why would you do it? $80, $150 to mint something or inscribe something or stamp something, to now it's a fifth of the cost. And I would expect a lot of 10K collections to be coming out of this and all the metas to churn through Stampville. It's really exciting, and it's going to be really exciting to see how this builds over the next few years and what becomes of it. But it's the most immutable layer in the world. Obviously, the most immutable layer on Bitcoin is the most immutable layer in all of crypto, which makes it the most immutable layer on Earth. So stamps forever, and appreciate everybody coming on. Why don't you take us out, Chris? Thanks so much.
Yeah, man, love to hear it. Everybody have a good day. Enjoy the week, and we'll see you tomorrow for a big episode on inscriptions and runestones. Take it easy.
Fire the laser.
Thanks, guys.
Laser Kevins, get Laser Kevins, Laser Kevins.
Laser!